billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Future Stars live on Hidayat TV. I'm your host Hassan Shah, and today we're talking about living a halal life, what that entails, and how we can come to that fulfillment of life where all that we're making is halal, all the actions that we're doing is halal as well. So before we continue that, I'd like to introduce our guests.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mr.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohsin.
Thank you, Mohsin Misbah. So the first thing that we've talked about a lot in living a halal life, yeah. What do you think is the most key thing towards that? Do any of you know Misbah? Let's go for Misbah.
Your devotion to God and your belief in that, and the way you show that you believe in God.
Yeah, Mohsin, what about you?
So don't cheat other people. So for instance, if you're working at a job, so you don't want to cheat other people to get money in a haram way.
Yeah.
So you always do it the halal way.
When we've talked about doing things, doing actions, or doing anything in this life, what have we talked about? We have to master. What is that word? It begins with a T in Arabic.
Taqwa.
Taqwa. Yeah, we have to master this. What can you translate that for me? Can you explain a little bit about what it is, Misbah?
I can't really explain. It's like
a level of which you achieve like a piety and so you're able to live out your life in a halal way instead of doing the bad things, and you know how to differentiate from what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one key phrase about self-control. Yeah, about having your own willpower, that you're able to control what you're doing. Yeah, and that comes under with your emotion and the way you talk, the way your actions. This you need to this self-control comes over that and is an umbrella for that. Yeah, so you are able to control these things, and that would lead you to living a halal life. But there's one other thing as well. In this world, what do we need? What do many people strive for? What do we do? We learn to get a what? Most of what do we learn? We do educate. We have education to get a what?
Get knowledge of about things
Yeah. So what's the ultimate goal, that we get this education? If you're just a normal person going to school, yeah, you get your education, and after education, what you're gonna do?
Get a job.
You're gonna go get a job.
Yeah, get a job. So this self-control, yeah, can come. It comes over not only your emotion, not only your actions, the way you speak, but also it has to take control in your livelihood as well, the way you earn a living to live in this world. Yeah, that is an important thing as well, that we should not forget. So okay, before we continue any more into the topic, we've got some more news that has come up, haven't we, with in the world. Mostly, can you get us up to date on anything?
They're making vaccines, and they're gonna give them to the elderly.
Yeah. What's another thing as well to do with people who's in school, mainly year 11s and year 13s?
The exams.
Yeah, exams. So in Wales, Mr. What's happened in Wales about exams?
I don't know.
In Wales, they've cancelled all their exams. Yeah. In Scotland, they've delayed them. In England, they're saying the exams will continue, but they've given a criteria of how they can make the exams easier because of all the stuff that has happened to the people who are going to be taking these exams. Yeah. So some of the stuff that they've said is that they obviously there's a 3 week delay on the exams, so 3 weeks they've been pushed, and they're going to tell the topics of what's on the test. Yeah, but that can but any name of any topic, if I can give you, say for in maths, a wide variety of stuff comes under it, doesn't it? Yeah, so
Yeah.
these are just things that they're saying that hopefully will help the those students. We hope that it will help them, but hopefully they still revise because obviously if one topic, maybe in English it might help, yeah, but say for in the sciences and maths, if you just say a topic like forces, there's so much stuff that comes under it, yeah. So hopefully everything will be sorted with the exams and everything, and everyone who's at home who's preparing for those exams gets the places and the grades that they want. So inshallah that happens. But getting back to the topic, we mentioned that we need taqwa, we mentioned that we need self-control, and now we're going to be talking about how we can implement that in our future. Our future is when we're going to get our jobs and earn these and earn our livelihood, so we can make a life in this world for ourselves. So Mohsin, Misbah, who's going to start? Is it Misbah or Mohsin?
Misbah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
Misbah.
sorry.
So can we start Misbah with the last salawat? Allahumma salli ala
اللهم صل على
Muhammad.
محمد وآل محمد.
As we know, willpower and self-control is required to deal with the complicated emotion of anger and to refrain from bad language, while it is also required in something as simple as earning a living. We are always used to understanding halal and haram in terms of objects. To eat, to eat this is haram, this meat is halal, and so on. However, we never think about our actions. Actions like objects can also be classified as to whether they are haram or halal. If I see a £20 on the ground on my way to school, I can either pick it up and put it into my pocket or hand it to the lost and found in school. If I can fool someone into paying me more money than I charge for the service rendered, then will I do it. These are all things that can happen to us anytime, and we should find a way to choose the right action. Our livelihood is the way in which we live and earn our day to day lives. For adults, it is the way they earn money, the way in which they help their friends, how they act to other people, how they pay taxes, the business, whether they pay homes, etc. For youngsters still at school, it is the way they treat their friends, the way they do their homework, what excuses they make if they do not do something, etc. Islam emphasizes the importance of making sure that these actions are not against Sharia, i.e., making sure all these actions are halal. The attitude of very many people is that it doesn't matter how you do something. For example, it doesn't matter if I usurp someone else's property as long as I give some of it to charity. It doesn't matter whether I pay khums or not as long as I pray. This attitude is not an Islamic one, and it is something that the youth of the community should realize and teach others by example. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Muhammad. Thank you, Mr. for that. So earning a halal livelihood is important as doing controlling, having the self-control on our emotions, on our actions, and what we say as well. It's an important thing. Misbah talked about there that that how the small things that we might see as just a small thing can if we benefit from that, from doing that bad thing, then what is we're not living a truly halal life, are we?
Uh,
Misbah they gave an example. What was the example, Mohsin?
The example was she. So one of the examples was that she could, if she can, she can. She should she cheat someone in her job. For youngsters that are still in school, the way they treat their friends. So what will they do? So what will they do with them, etc.
Yeah, but the first example that she mentioned was picking up something from the ground, wasn't it? What was it?
A 20 £20 bill.
Yeah, yeah. So £20 note. So you walk into school, and maybe let's not say £20, because actually, who was maybe I don't know if you two were there, but in town at one point, yeah, I was walking with someone, and more than £100. Let's because £20 maybe to some people isn't a lot, but let's because I was walking in town one time, and upwards of £100 was on the floor. Yeah, what would anyone do there? They would what?
They would either
They
pick
would,
it up
Yeah,
and
pick
take
it
it,
up
or
in their own pocket. Yeah, but for those people, unfortunately, it is haram to do. It's not allowed. Because why would it not be allowed? Misbah, I want you to answer this question. Someone has carelessly dropped their money on the floor. Yeah, you don't know them. Yeah, you don't know if they're gonna come back and come collect this money. You don't know that they need the money or not. Yeah, you yourself, you believe that you need the money. Why would you think it's haram then? Well, why is it haram? Why
because
is it wrong?
if you take the money, the other person might want to come back and actually pick it up. And it's if you take the money, you're basically cheating them out of their money, and you're going to benefit from it, and they're not. They're going to lose their money that it was rightfully theirs.
Ultimately, Mohsin, what? Yeah, Misbah said that at the end, that it is not yours. It says it's not your thing to take. You have no rights. It's a series going off in the background for me. Um, you have no right to take this money. Like other things, and if we look in history, yeah, I want people at home to think about how we talk about whose land do we talk about being taken. Do any of you two know? In history, we talk about it. After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, what do we talk about? Yeah, Misbah? Say that again.
Bibi Fatima had was given land from her father, and it was taken off her.
Yeah, what was the land called, Mohsin? Do you know?
I forgot what it was called.
Begins with the F. Misbah, do you know? Fadak. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So we talk about in history. So I want people at home to think about this. When you go to mosque and you learn about the land of Bibi Fatima, salamu alayhi, get taken away from her, you yourself feel this pain, yeah? Because these are people taking something from someone that you care about, yeah? So now let's put that on ourselves when we see this £100, £250 notes on the floor, yeah? And we're walking past. Yeah, the same pain that we should feel about something else being taken. Yeah, we don't know about the other person as well. Yeah, and ultimately, it's the wrong thing to do. It's haram, and because why? It's not yours. Yeah, you always need permission, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Imams always talked about needing permission. When you go to someone else's house and you need to do you need to do your namaz, you have to ask for their permission. When you need to do your wudu, you can't just get water from anywhere. You need to ask permission of who owns that water, whose land that you're in. Yeah. So hopefully we know that to with money as well. We need to be earning it in a halal way. And how can we do this? Mohsin, you're gonna get into that. So can we start Mohsin off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala
Muhammad. Well, why should we earn a halal livelihood? What is wrong in cheating others? If we were to cheat someone, we would be gaining at his or her loss. Suppose we were working on a job together and we were paid £10. If instead of splitting it half and half, I was to keep 6 and give you 4, and you didn't notice, I would be gaining £1 at your expense. £1 itself may not be a big deal, but the principle is the principle that counts. Allah has given us a short term on this world. He has put us in a position where we have the choice of being of cheating or being fair. If we stay on the path of Islam, the path of justice, we will benefit both in this world and the next. However, if we cheat and follow shaitan, we may become rich, but we will never be happy in this world and definitely not in the next life. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has said, whoever lived on a halal earning for 40 days, Allah shall enlighten his heart and cause springs of wisdom to come forth in his heart, following to his tongue. This does not mean that we should earn a halal life for 40 days and then forget it and start cheating. It shows us the reward that Allah gives us for obeying Him and resisting temptations. Imam Ali said to his people, "Who is a believer?" Then he gave a detailed answer, part of which said, "The believer is one with whom people's life, wealth, and dignity are safe. His livelihood is earned in an honorable way." We must remember that Allah is giving us the chance to prove ourselves to Him. We can gain His pleasure by fighting our nafs and being just in this world, or we can displease Him by following our nafs. Remember the example of her when he was before to him two paths. One was death, and in an honourable way with the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and one with riches and wealth without principles. He made the right choice and set us an example. Do we have the courage to follow this? The choice is ours. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Thank you, Mohsin there. Mohsin there mentioned some important things about why we should actually earn a halal livelihood. Yeah, us three discussed it just before that. He mentioned it as well, and Mohsin mentioned a point added on to what we were talking about. Another reason is why that we are gaining at someone's own expense. Yeah. And most they also mentioned about hadiths from the Holy Prophet and from Imam Ali alayhi salam, where the Holy Prophet talked about whoever lives on halal earnings for 40 days, Allah shall enlighten his heart springs of wisdom come out of his heart. Why did Mohsin go on to say that it's of only living a halal livelihood for 40 days?
Because then you get used to it, and then hopefully you won't revert back to your old ways, basically.
Yeah. So this doesn't mean that we only do it for 40 days, but we can't just forget it and start cheating. It shows us the reward that Allah has given us by obeying Him, so we're able to resist this temptation. Yeah. So if we think about it, if that's only 40 days, what about if we do this throughout our whole lives? Yeah. An important thing to think about. And then also what Imam Ali alayhi salam said. Yeah, a believer is whom a person's wealth, life, and dignity are safe in his possession. Yeah. So these are all things that we need to think about, and earning a livelihood. When we go into that stage of our life where we become independent, we need to think about these things. Yeah. There's another thing that we need to think about when living a halal life. One big thing that people like to talk about. What is that?
Music.
Yeah, music.
Music.
So, Misbah, if you can get onto that, because I'm speeding up here because my I need to get the charger for my phone that I'm using. So, can we start, Misbah, with the last salawat? Allahumma salli
Allah,
ala.
Allah, Allah, Muhammad, wa ala Muhammad.
Islam does not recommend or encourage music amongst the community. Let us see why. Human beings are highly versatile and can adapt to different situations easily. So it is very rare that everyone will react to an influence in exactly the same way. Thus, all human beings may not be affected by a tiny bit of alcohol or a little music to the same degree. However, Islam is a religion for all the people as well as the individual. Therefore, if there is something that affects a large percentage of people in an undesirable manner, such as alcohol causing drunkenness and disorder, then Islam will make it haram at the very beginning on the basis that prevention is better than cure. This means that it is better to stop something bad from happening in the first place rather than doing something about it after it happens. This is a logical approach. Allah also says in the Holy Quran that some things in small quantities do have good effects for us, but the bad effects outweigh the good, and therefore overall it is harmful and so forbidden. They ask you concerning wine and gambling, say, in them it is great sin, and some profit for the men, but the sin is greater than the profit. Thus doth God make clear to you his signs, in order that you may consider. So, what is undesirable about music? Music has an effect on the mind and the body. The effect depends on the type of music. With some types of music, soft and soothing, one relaxes and opens up the mind, closes the eyes, and drifts off to another world, perhaps a world of fantasy. With other types of music, the mind is almost possessed. Very often, with loud music played at discos and parties, people begin to dance and move to the music. This causes them to lose control of their nafs so that they can dance with their partners, come very close and lose all sense of shame and think of or commit acts that are the result of their desires. Music is also addictive. It becomes like a drug. People require more and more of it and find it very difficult to stop and to obtain the same effect. They play the music louder and louder, which may negatively affect their hearing or nervous system. Salawat.
Allahumma.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Thank you, Mohsen Misbah. So, one big question, yeah, under what we're talking about today. The big question that every single person, well, most people, whenever they go to mosque and there's always a Q&A, yeah, is what, that is music halal? Is music halal? Is music halal? Is music halal or haram? Yeah, this question always comes up. Why do you think this question always comes up, Mohsen Misbah?
Because it's very addictive. So people, when they, well, when
Yeah.
they want an excuse to watch it, or they want, because they like it basically.
Okay, there's, even though, because we talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made clear of what things are haram and what things are halal for us. Yeah. So why, Misbah, is there still this confusion? There's still, for some reason, when you go on the internet, people saying music, all music is halal. And when you go on the internet, there are some people saying all music is haram. Why is there this confusion when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made clear what's halal and haram for us?
Because some people want a solution or an exception or something to believe in that will make it easier for them and make them feel like it's allowed for them to listen to the music, and they don't want to believe that it is haram or it is wrong to do, as they don't want to have all that guilt on them. and don't have to deal with the guilt. They want to just believe it is something acceptable to do, while others know that it isn't, and are willing to prove that and show people that it isn't.
Okay, so really good points that you two both made, and I just want to talk to you about something. What what do you guys say about music?
I say it depends what type of music, because there are some types of music that, well, it's not, it's like, it's okay, but it's not bad. Like, it's not haram. But
Okay, okay.
some,
So Mohsin brings up a point that um not that there's some music. So Mohsin, if I'm saying this right for you, tell me, that he says there's some music that is haram and some music that is halal. Okay. Now let's go on to Miss. What do you think?
And so the same with most music. Some music that is okay, and some music that's a bit extreme will have swear words, and it will be
What do you mean
definitely
by
like
okay?
not
What does
accepted.
okay mean?
so let's
Like
say, so something like simple, like, let's say, if it's even like a basic instrument, let's say something like a flute, or something like that, something that doesn't like affect you, or something that doesn't make you behave or act in a certain way.
Okay. But I thought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear what's halal and haram. Yeah? So what we see here is this misconception, isn't it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
Yeah.
has definitely made it clear what's halal and haram for us. But why have you two got this confusion? And why people, when we always go to mosque and there's always a Q&A and there's always questions about is music halal or haram? Yeah? Why this always comes up? Because of the misconception about it. And some people saying all of it is haram, some people saying all of it is halal. Yeah? So, when we talk about music, how can we describe it? What can we talk about? What is the definition of it?
A sound that makes you feel a certain way.
Okay. What about you, Misbah? Is it something similar?
yeah, like a sound that makes you feel a certain way,
Yeah.
or makes you like
Yeah.
whether it's like happy or
So,
sad or whatever. Yeah.
so this is the definition of music that I've found. A vocal or instrumental sounds, or both, combine in such a way to produce beauty, form, harmony, and expression of emotion. Yeah. You guys see anything with that? Anything wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Pleasing, rhythmic sound accompanied by a beat. Yeah. And when um um when we look at these, some people have another question now, that if we say all music is haram, isn't there nohas, isn't there nasheeds that have this same definition, that they are vocal or instrumental sounds, that they express emotion and harmony, and they form together to form harmony? Doesn't that apply to some of our nohas and nasheeds? Yeah, some people ask these questions, which are really important. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even says in the Quran, we bestowed our favors upon Dawood, David. We commanded, O mountain, sing Allah's praises with him and the birds. So now we hear sing in the Quran. Allah commanding the mountains to sing. These is very strange that we're seeing all of this. Yeah. So, what do you guys think from this? There's some people will be confused, wouldn't it? Anything? So you guys are so astonished now that you're speechless
It's
about this.
very
I
confusing.
well,
Yeah. So now we see this confusion. Yeah. So this all things now they've merged. It's very confusing. Yeah. So if we think about this, music, yeah, itself, the word, yeah, where what it talks about is not. I want people to understand properly what I'm trying to say, and not think when they go home they're gonna listen to music that which is propagated now. It's very different. Yeah, that when we look at this definition itself, it is halal. Yeah, like some foods, like food itself is halal, but there's some foods which are haram, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now when we think about this deeper, yeah, when we look at the Quran and the Hadith, it talks about ghina. Yeah, this is what is haram. This word, because there's some translation problem here. That's what's become a lot of the misconceptions arise from this translation error. So ghina is actually this thing from the Holy Quran. It talks about among men is he who buys idle discourse. Yeah, here the it talks. This is the ghina. Yeah, vain, meaningless, idleness talk, which is most music. If we think about it, is it not most music talks about this vain, meaningless, idle, pointless talk? Yeah.
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 Yeah. So this is and hopefully because we only unfortunately we started this talking about this very much late, but we'll talk more about we'll do a part 2 of living a halal livelihood where we talk in detail about this. But I want you at home to understand that ghina is the thing that is haram. Yeah, and most music is this ghina. Yeah. But when we think about other things, when people talk about what would be halal music then? What would be halal music, you two? Yeah. If we go under this definition of music, which is the obviously the English definition of music, yeah. This is hopefully a question we can answer on our next week episode. Yeah, but we need to understand most ghina is what music there is out there today. Yeah. So we need to. This is the biggest point I need to show to people at home as well. So hopefully we learned the importance of living a halal livelihood. Yeah, earning a halal livelihood and living a halal life. And we're going to talk a little bit because we had a short time today. We're going to talk more about this next week. So hopefully we can talk about this next week, same time, same place on Hidayat TV. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.